Hello, it's Miss Heather, piano and voice teacher at Conservatory of the Ozarks. Here with
Miss Katie.
Katie is in the apprenticeship program to be teaching piano and voice lessons at the Conservatory. So today we're talking about how to teach Unit 2 from the Leonard books, Level 1. So the lesson book is a central book for Leonard, and this is the first page of Unit 2. So in Unit 1, hopefully your students learned hand shape, posture, basic rhythms like quarter note, half note, whole note, quarter rest, half rest, da-da-da-da-da, and measures and bar lines, and finger numbers. So now that they have like all those basics like posture and all that in place, they're going to learn the names of all the white keys and the musical alphabet. So there are 7 letters in the musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then they repeat indefinitely, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And the tricky thing about the musical alphabet is, it's even though it's short, which is nice, you have to know it forwards and backwards, just as good both ways. So I like the way the Leonard book teaches, because first you learn 2 black keys and then 3 black keys. And then when you move on to white keys, first you learn, they break the group of 7 into 2 pieces, a group of 3 and a group of 4. First you learn the white keys that surround the set of 2 black keys, and then you learn the white keys that surround the set of 3 black keys. So I like how it just like systematically builds concept. I think it's really nice and organized, from my mind anyway. So the very first thing you do is alphabet soup, which is just where you're like, musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, F, G, 7 letters, forward, backward, all the stuff I just said. And then they already know the chicken pecking finger, hopefully, from level Unit 1. And so you just play alphabet soup on the keys like this. They just pick any A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's what you're hoping for them to do by looking at this. So I don't usually demonstrate it first like that. I'll be like, oh, look at the hand shape. What's that hand shape there? And hopefully they're like, oh, that's a chicken pecking finger, and you do it like this. And then you can say, look at those keys. They're labeled. Those are the names of the keys. They match the musical alphabet I just told you about. And the very first key on the piano is called A, which makes sense because it's the first one. And so then you can be like, let's find an A here in the middle, and you can help them with that because it's new. And then you can say, okay, well, can you follow this rhythm, you know, all those quarter notes, and then notice the last one is a G, and it gets 2 beats, right, because it's a half note, and, you know, then hopefully they play something similar to what I just did. And then they can try it with the CD. And then it moves on to C, D, E first. And so I do a few things that the book doesn't like specifically say to do. On the page 22 where it says C, D, E groups, first I'll have them practice leapfrogging just like with the 2s and 3s. So now you can have them find like a cluster of keys. Sometimes that's the easiest thing to do first, and then I'll have them find C, D, E, C, D, E, leapfrog, C, D, E, and then when they get to the top, and make them actually sing the pitches, so that they have to sing going up and then going down, E, D, C. So hopefully they don't sing E, D, C, where they're singing the pitches ascending still. They're actually singing C, D, E, but just changing the letter names. So you want to hear them change to E, D, C, E, D, C, E, D, C, and like leapfrog all the way back down. And then I'll make them find all the D's and say their names. So like D1, D2, D3, D4. If it's a young child or a child who is like maybe a little slowish at catching on to things, D is a great place to start because it's the easiest one because it's right in the middle of the 2 black keys. If it's a child who is more precocious, I usually save that one after C and E because it's so easy. It's like going to be nothing for them. But some kids it'll be hard to find D even, so you can kind of gauge that. depending on the child. And then C1, C2, C3, and then you'll have to point out the very last key, the very highest key is a C, because it's kind of hard to tell. I usually, explain, hopefully in Unit 1, that this bottom black key is a set of 3, and it just is all by itself because the piano stops there. So there's nothing there to really let you know that's a C, because there's no set of 2 black keys, so you just have to notice it's a B, and so the next one's probably a C. And then my own song on C, D, E. So after they're done, E3, E2, E1, when they're done finding all the C, D, E's and doing C, D, E as a group, right? Then you can move on to my own song on C, D, E, which is just like the black key, my own song things. So if, again, it's kind of slow going, then that's it. Like those 2 pages are the lesson. That if it's like, oh, that was easy, it took like 2 minutes to do those 2 pages, then I move on to Balloon Ride and Party Cat. So I try to have them look at the map and say, can you figure out where to put your hands just by looking at that? And if they can, hopefully they can. They might be a little confused because the left hand is still on the black key, so you don't have to think about what the left hand has to do in a new way yet. And the right hand's on C, D, E. So now they have to start using their thumb. So that's new. So you remind them, perch the thumb on the side, land the fingers on the tips. So you have the rounded hand shape. And then you can also draw their attention to the dynamic marking, pull out the flashcard for piano and forte, and talk about how dynamics tell you whether you should play loud or soft, and how piano and forte are Italian words. F is an abbreviation for forte, which means loud. And I always try to emphasize to them that's all the dynamics ever can tell you is loud and soft, because kids all the time, even adults, like if they see an F in the music and you're like, what does this mean? They'll be like, fast. So I try to drill into their mind, F can't mean fast because that's an English word, and F is an abbreviation for an Italian word. Fast is not an Italian word. And I'll even pretend like I'm trying to trick them sometimes. I'll be like, okay, so what can dynamic signs tell you? And hopefully they say it can tell you volume, or it can tell you loud and soft. And then I'll be like, but can it sometimes also tell you speed, like how fast or slow you should go? Doesn't F sometimes stand for fast? And if you say it really convincingly, but doesn't it also? Sometimes they'll be like, yeah. And then you'd be like, no, no, fooled you. And then it's funny, and they're like, oh, and then the next time they remember F does not mean fast. So anyways, Balloon Ride, you probably have heard already. So if it's a child who has issues with rhythm, you can clap first. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, repeat, But hopefully you did a really good job of drilling them on the rhythms in Unit 1, and they don't even really have to think about the fact that the half notes get 2 beats. They just know how to read the rhythms already because they practiced it plenty of times already. And then Party Cat, you can point out, oh, is Party Cat loud or soft? Loud, obviously it's Party Cat. Forte. It's really fun to try to get them to sing the words. It makes it's better if they can try to sing the words, but not all of them will. Some of them are shy. And if you can play the teacher accompaniments with them, that's another really fun thing to do. So usually I stop there for sure, because there's not really a benefit to dividing the keys up into groups of C, D, E, and F, G, A, B, unless you do it in pieces like that. But if it is an older student or somebody who's catching on fast, then you could do all the way through. So then F, G, A, B is the next thing. Same thing. F, 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 F. A and B are a little tricky because A1, A2, A3, B and A down here look kind of weird. And same thing, F, G, A, B, F, G, A, B, and then coming back down, B, A, G, F, B, A, G, F. And it's harder because there's 4 of them, and like G and A kind of look the same because they're both in the middle. So it's harder. And then my own song, Undersea Voyage and Taxi Tangle. So you just switch spots. The left hand is on the white keys now, and the right hand gets to take a turn on the black keys. Deep into the ocean in my submarine, that's the biggest turtle I have ever seen. Yeah. And you can hold the damper pedal down on that one, which is kind of fun. And Taxi Tangle, forte. On the highway, honk rest, honk rest, honk rest, honk rest. Excuse me, turn the wrong way. Honk rest, honk rest, honk. Rest, rest, rest. Stop. I do that a lot of times with the younger kids, like say stop at the double bar line so they remember. That's the end, no bonus notes. And that's all of the unit. And then for technique, you have attic stairs. So people get confused about this one because it's almost the same as alphabet soup, but not quite. So you have half notes and whole notes. So you have to go really slow, and you have to switch hands in the middle. And so I try to get them to read the instructions if they can read. They usually still don't understand what it means, but I try to make them at least attempt to understand it on their own first. But the goal is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then you repeat G. J, F, E, D, C, B, A. Switch hands. And so the 2 beat thing is tricky. That's the end. So if you want to head off, if you've got time and you want to like prevent the rhythmic issue from happening, you can have them tap it like with one of the drums or rhythm instruments, or clap it and count 1, 2, 1, 2, you know, so they have a feel for that before they play it, because otherwise they're probably going to do it wrong because of alphabet soup. Look at me is just on the white keys. So, you know, you can be like, look at the map, can you see where hand goes? And you can ask them, rather than saying it's only right hand, you can say, do you use both hands, or do you use right hand, or do you use left hand? And hopefully they're like, oh, that means I use my right hand and I perch my thumb on C and land with a nice rounded hand shape like this. And it's just easy. And then Monster Under My Bed is a pretty scary one. It starts, and this is the first one that has dynamic contrast. You have piano and forte both in the same one. So, starting off soft. And then forte. Repeat. So on and so forth. So, and that's it. There's no solo book song in the whole unit. Let me see, practice games really quick. We could talk about that one. And theory and note speller. They have a couple in there that people sometimes get confused about. Okay, so for Party Cat, this is a really fun one right here. So if you know that it's coming up, you can bring supplies. Or you can borrow the ones in my room. I'll usually take the tambourine and the big drum over there and 2 drumsticks. But sometimes like I'll use like the lid for my candy jar because it works as like a symbol. They say to use like a glass and a box. You can use whatever. 2 things that make a different sound, you know, and 2 sticks hopefully, or they could tap if you don't have sticks. And make them practice this first. So you go tap, 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 tap. So it's like right, right, left, left, right, right, left. And after they've done it by themselves, then turn on the CD and have them do it. And it's more fun if you have like some little instruments for them to use, and it helps them nail down the rhythm. And then this one, this is a hard one. There's one of these for Taxi Tangle too. So you have to go left, try not to just spoon feed that to them. I try to ask them questions about it and let them stumble through it and not do it right, so that I can then be like, so I can see what they came up with on their own, and then be like, oh, so it looks like here it says you have to use which finger on that note. And you can see it just is so like, what? No, that can't be, because my one is on E. It's like really hard, but I feel like the struggle of trying to understand that is something they need to work through, because it helps their mind open up to the idea that their hand could be moving around during the song. And then, does that make sense? Yeah. And then over here, put your hands in party cat position. You can ask me, do you remember where your hands went when you played party cat? And you could look it up in the lessons book if they weren't sure, or you can show them the map here. And so they have their hands there, and then you put on number 25, party cat, and they can only use those same notes, but they can't play party cat. They have to play their own song, different song. And then same thing with balloon ride. Stay in this position and play a different song, and then label the keys. And then here, cut these out. This is kind of a fun one. The goal is for them to do this at home, and you explain to the parent how to do this with them, or explain to the kid if they're old enough to do it on their own. But, I mean, if it's somebody who is not going to do it at home, and you know it, like, and maybe you signed it already and it didn't get done, then you can always just do it in the lesson. And they label the keys, only the white keys, of course, with their names, and then they arrange them on the music rack in order. For rock and roll is where it's at. So hopefully E, D, D, C, C, black key. And then they can rearrange it into different orders to make up different songs. And then you can use them as flashcards too. So I usually, after we're done, take a paper clip and paper clip them here in case we want to review them as flashcards again. And then the FGAB stuff is the same. Taxi tangle. And then, you know, and then da, 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 da. It's just with FJB. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once they've done the other one, that one's not nearly as hard, but still, usually they have to think about it. Okay, so the map of Taxi Tangle. You want to have this open side by side with the lessons book, because that's what it's referring to. And you can say, you know, okay, so this is a map to the song that's written here in your lessons book. So you start with finger number 4, and then you go up, is what that means. And then you go to number 4 again, and you go up, and then you play a cluster, and then you rest. And so, you know, what's going to be the first thing here? Oh, looks like another 4 and go up. So what are you going to draw here to go next, you know? And what are you going to draw here? And so this is going to be the same, except for, you know, the rest is a little different. So then they need to play the song just by looking at this that they wrote, and then you take it away and make them play it from memory, completely from memory. And then this is the same as the CDE thing. You just put your hands in the Taxi Tangle position, make up a new song where you listen to the CD labeled FGAB keys, and then same, label the back sides with the names, and then put them on the music rack. And now here they suggest that you, if they do it at home, I have had kids go home and actually do this, tape it to a piece of cardboard, bring it back in their favorite order, and have a name for their song. And it's really cute. If they don't, then I just like paper clip them into the book again, like with CDE. And that is pretty much all of Unit 2. Oh, except for a theory book or note speller book. One of those two have something. I think it's a note speller book. The key thing. So this is pretty easy because you just label the white keys and then just write the musical alphabet. The only tricky thing is when they get to G, they have to remember to put A next here. So first you find all the red keys. So what's the name of this key? That's a C, so you write C. And then here, this is a D, right? So it's not CDE, CDE, CDE. You find all the red first, and then all the blue, and then all the green. And that way you have to like think through it a little bit more and label the white keys. Same thing for FGAB. Now here, if they can read, make them read this. And if they don't notice it, I will underline this little bit here. Backwards. They have to do the musical alphabet backwards. So they can look at this to help them if they need to. So it's not going to be A, B. It's going to be A, G. And that's kind of tricky. And I don't think there's anything that weird in the theory book. Just make sure that you make them do forward or backward as indicated by the arrow. And you can make them practice saying the musical alphabet backwards, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, D, A. They should be able to say it super easy. Oh, here, this page, a lot of times people will come in and they'll only color the keys that are outlined. But if you read the directions, they want you to color every C red, every D blue, every E green. Whether they're outlined or not, it's just you write the letter underneath the ones that have the blank. Here you circle the sets of 2 black keys, color the C, D, E's. And then this is the same but for F, G, A, B. This one, again, most people don't carefully read the instructions and they come in and it's completely incorrect. I mean, it's hard to fix it because it's with crayons, so can't really erase it. So it's not that big of a deal. I just talk them through the mistakes if there are mistakes and put a sticker on it if we can't fix it. So here, I'm always like, okay, don't just guess what the word is. Some people will always cheat and just try to guess what the word is because it's not that hard. But it's like, that's just wasting your time. You might as well actually try to benefit from it. So don't go through and find all the orange first, because that also is like, you're not learning from that. So you're supposed to look at the orange and be like, okay, what key is that? That's a G. And the next is green. What's that? Oh, that's an E. So try to make them do it that way if you can. And that is everything, I think. Any questions? Ugh, my voice is tired from talking so much. Okay, thumbs up for you.